What's up, family? It's Swagu. What's happening, baby? We back for another podcast. I'm home. My beard looks a lot better than the last time you saw me. I still need a haircut, though. It's different for me when I'm in the off season because I don't know what to do sometimes because so many stories come out in sports where you feel like, it's like, should I be on TV right now? Should I be talking about this? It's the beauty of the podcast. I can talk about it all within this time that we have together and get off my mind and my chest what I feel about certain things that's going on in the sports world. And not only in the sports world, sometimes life infiltrates our podcast. Sometimes things that I'm doing infiltrates it. So with that being said, man, go like, subscribe, follow. We on YouTube as well. We on all platforms that you can find podcasts. You know, Spotify's, the Apples, ESPN, all of those. We own all of them. Find us. Check us out. Let's get right into it, man. It's an interesting story going on in college football right now. And I got to admit, I kind of love it. Primetime Deion Sanders keeps giving us things to think about with this new model of college football that everybody is trying to figure out. So Deion suggested that they do similar to what we used to do in the NFL. Let me give you a little background. In the NFL, like during the offseason or the preseason training camp time, teams will go to other cities, practice against teams 2 or 3 times, and then they'll play them in a preseason game. I'm sure if you're an avid football fan, some of y'all are very familiar with that. So Deion brought up the fact that why don't we just model this for the spring in college? Which I like a lot. Spring football sometimes gets tedious, especially if you're there. You know, when I was at LSU with Coach Saban, we would have spring football in the spring game, and it was cool, but you got to a certain point where you was tired of playing against your own dudes, and you wanted to play against somebody else, which is the beauty of what the NFL does. So, Prime, as he always does, being on the cutting edge of ideas, he literally said his idea was a tremendous idea. Tremendously tremendous. You got to be that guy to say your own idea is tremendous. It is, though. He not lying. He not lying at all. I like the idea of it because, one, it models similarly to what college football is going to. Y'all, I think we talked about this before. We got to stop playing. College football is just the NFL developmental league now. It's becoming almost like free agency. It's becoming you have NIL, which is contracts based. You have dudes that are negotiating now. You got college players with agents, marketing teams, working with compliance departments. There is no structure. I love the idea of a compliance department, but there is no compliance. There's deals now. There's deals, there's contracts that you get, that you read, that you say, hey, our athlete has been up for this. They gonna do it. Because how in the world, in this day and age, can you tell an athlete, go ahead and turn down $2 million that somebody want to pay you to do this ad or this commercial because of compliance? Get the hell out of here. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject for another day. I'm sure we'll get into that in depth as more decisions are made. I love this idea about Prime, though. The spring game should be a spectacle now, because my point being, tying that all together, is that this has become bona fide business. This is a semi-pro league is what the college football landscape is. And I know for all of the old objections about traditions and about all of that, the viewership is great. They still filling their ass up in them 120,000 seat stadiums. They packed every Saturday. So the model, yes, has changed, but the crazed idea of being around college football, the things that go along with college football, the tailgating ain't stopped at LSU because of NIL. The motorhomes still get there on Wednesdays, and the game is not till Saturday. I still hit my boys up and be like, I can't wait to get down there to see LSU play Alabama in the first week of November. We still have those conversations, no matter what the NIL or the transfer portal or who the coaches are or we still get excited about the nostalgia of walking in the Tiger Stadium and watching them play a game. But Prime made a great suggestion about the spring. We're going to practice, and then we want to play somebody. Colorado spring game will be televised on E2, ESPN2, April 19th. Wouldn't more people watch it if, like, Syracuse and Colorado played each other? And the only reason I bring up Syracuse is because their head coach say, we willing to go down there and practice and play a spring game on television. Smart. Visibility. You know money is going to get involved. You know these networks are going to want to be a big part of it, as they already are. But it would only magnify. I think fans would travel for it. I think it'll be a break in the calendar of football if you had all of these spring games with these teams competing against each other, like all of these leagues that they've tried to start. I think this would stand in the gap for a lot of that. People would get that kind of taste, that feel of real football, and then we go away. And then we come back for the regular season. I love this idea, Prime. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the guys are getting paid now. A lot of these players on the teams are getting paid. Compensate them for the game. The teams that are willing to do it, the universities that are willing to do it, compensate them for playing somebody else and going and travel and taking that step. This would literally be a new age in college football. You would also be able to get matchups that wouldn't necessarily happen ever in the regular season. You would also give teams time to travel, time to meet and see each other and have more than just a game. And these dudes would get to know each other. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So, Prime, that is a tremendously tremendous idea by you. And I think y'all should do it. Now, the NCAA bylaws, whatever. Fix it. Let it happen. I'm going to go to the other side of this because there's another story going on in the midst of football in the spring with college football teams as well. Some teams ain't playing at all. Some teams ain't playing a spring game. Some teams having closed practice where only the fans can come in and see the players on that last practice. You know why? Because I just told y'all this is semi-pro league. Teams are worried about tampering. Yeah, you heard me right. They worried about tampering. They worried about other colleges seeing how good some of these players are on their team during the spring games that are nationally televised, and somebody going to come and get them. Nebraska, Texas, Ohio State, Oklahoma, USC are among programs ending traditions in spring. LSU decided not to play a traditional spring game. Y'all know I'm close to that because they're my people down there. My people, you heard me? I get that side too, but I'm more on the Prime side. Just open it up. Open it up so these teams can play each other. But we in a new era. Everybody know that. It's been said 1,000,000 times up to this point. So now it's about trying to figure out adjustments and how to thrive, not only as a program, as a decision maker, as commissioners, as leagues, as head coaches, as GMs, as some of these colleges have now, as athletic directors. I'm telling y'all, man. I think we headed towards some structure in college football that in the places where it's not there. I think we headed towards a little bit more excitement, if you could believe that. I never thought it could get more exciting. College football is dope as hell. I love it. ESPN does the best job of highlighting the game and telling the stories and putting the big games on. Sound like a company guy, but it's just the truth. I don't care how you feel about it. Other networks do a good job. ESPN do it better. Spring games, spring college, Prime with this tremendously tremendous idea. Some schools not even playing spring games don't want to be seen. They want to be incognito because they don't want other schools to see how good some of their backups are and be like, yo, you can come over here and start right now. So they said, nah, we ain't gonna show that on TV. The difference and in the scale of where Deion is and not worrying about it because he's a portal guy, and these other teams terrified to play anything. They terrified to do a skelly, which means shorts and shoulder pads, or just a simple walkthrough on TV so nobody see their players. I mean, at the end of the day, Prime was built on confidence. That's why we call him Prime Time. Prime saying, man, let's put on the show. Everybody else saying, mm-mm. I'm going to go to the NFL now. There's always stuff happening in the league that I cover. That's why I love it so much. It's my favorite thing in the world is to talk about the NFL all season, especially because a lot of little nuggets are dropped in the NFL off season. One being in Minnesota with the Vikings. The Vikings were mentioned to be in the Aaron Rodgers market. And I don't think they're completely out, but that is starting to fade. Now, here's the thing, man. Minnesota Vikings got a young quarterback named J.J. McCarthy, who was injured in I believe the preseason, and Sam Darnold took over. Sam Darnold had a phenomenal season. Kevin O'Connell was a phenomenal coach. Offensively, got this offense shaking. They did some really good things and got to the playoffs and kind of fizzled out. Sam didn't play at the level he played a lot during the regular season. But J.J. McCarthy was sitting in the back as the top 10 overall draft pick for this team and waiting his time to become the starter. Sam Darnold played well. You know what happens when you play well at quarterback. You get paid out the wazoo. So Sam Darnold moves on to Seattle, and now the Minnesota Vikings have J.J. McCarthy penciled in as their starter, but they became a part of this team, one of the main focal points of a team that's in the Aaron Rodgers. I ain't even gonna say sweepstakes no more. That ain't even sweepstakes no more. That's like looking at a snake and being like, should we touch it because it's on display or no? No. That's where the Minnesota Vikings are with Aaron Rodgers. No pun intended. I just don't know if it's worth it anymore, man. Like, I just don't know if it's worth it. What's coming to your locker room? I talked about this when he went to the Jets. I applauded him for the things that were going on that early on. Him and receivers going to basketball games, him ingratiating himself with the city of New York. And, obviously you know, you can't determine when an injury is gonna happen. And we saw the first season his Achilles pop, and he missed that season. Last season was awful. It was absolutely horrendous. They tried to make moves. They capitulated to everything that Aaron Rodgers wanted to do. And I said at the beginning that was the mistake. Robert Saleh was fired. The head coach who had this team trending a quarterback away wasn't having success with Aaron Rodgers, so they fired him. I went on ESPN and said they fired the most unimportant person. Not meaning Robert Saleh wasn't important, not meaning he wasn't the head coach in his job and he was doing a good job. But when they did all of this to go get Aaron Rodgers, they made him insignificant because they basically told Aaron Rodgers throughout that process that this is your team. We're going to make the decisions that you want to make, like bringing in Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah, that pause was for real after what he did in Denver, because that was his guy and that was his coach and that was somebody that he could work with. Nah, player. So they did all of these things to make it cozy and comfortable for Aaron Rodgers and ended up doing the same thing they did when they had Zach Wilson. So now other teams are looking at this and saying, is it worth it anymore? Can he even get back to an MVP level? He tore his Achilles. He's 40 plus years old. And we got a young quarterback that we're trying to evaluate, not only in real games, but trying to build his confidence, get him ready. We've made some moves on this roster to get better. We've signed some defensive guys, some offensive guys. We feel like we have a window now as long as the quarterback didn't come together. And Aaron wouldn't come in obviously saying, well, I'm going to be the 2 until JJ messes up. No, he would expect to start. So you're already bringing him in with an issue. There's a lot, man. It's a lot around Aaron Rodgers. I said it when he was leaving Green Bay and wherever he was going. There's just a lot around him. I thought Pittsburgh was the best place for him because I think Mike Tomlin has a stronghold on that place and could absolutely manage that and wouldn't feel bad about telling Aaron Rodgers, nah, we ain't doing that. But again, Minnesota Vikings have been mentioned. J.J. McCarthy is their guy. They've kind of cooled off on Aaron Rodgers talk and, talked about it not being fully done, but it's something that they're not crazy about like it was these talks a week ago. I gotta be honest with you, I like it. I think Aaron Rodgers coming to a locker room with a young quarterback that haven't played is absolutely toxic for your organization if you're trying to see what your young player is about. Yep. I wouldn't do it, Minnesota. Seems like y'all not gonna do it. If y'all do it, just be ready for what come with that. Moving on to happier times. I got a segment on NFL Live during the offseason called Get That Bag. Get That Bag is comprised of players that I think are going to get paid and get paid a lot of money. I love doing the segment because usually when I do it, a few days after that or a week after that, the dudes get paid. And no, I'm not just going with the cliche guys. Sometimes I do because it's worth it, and their contracts are going to reset a market, and they're going to reset what the market is and all of that. So speaking of resetting, we're going to go to obviously Cincinnati. First of all, Bengals. I mean, I was one of the ones that talked about ain't no way in hell they're going to be able to do it. And first of all, if they could do it, they ain't got the cojones to do it. They paid Jamar and T a lot of money. I think Jamar got like 161 total. I think T got like 115. I ain't going specific numbers. I'm just talking about what they were able to pay these 2 wide receivers after paying Joe Burrow, what they paid him. I see it, and we're exciting. It's an exciting time. Both receivers are back, and we scored 40 points a game last year, and we ain't win a damn thing. Ain't even getting playoffs. I hate to be Debbie Down. I'm happy for my dogs. I'm happy for T and Jamar, man. I'm through the roof, especially for T, because we knew Jamar was going to be the highest paid wide receiver because he's the best wide receiver in the league, him and Justin Jefferson. So we knew he was going to up Justin Jefferson just by the sheer number that he was after Justin Jefferson. If he got paid first and Justin got paid after him, Justin would have been highest paid. That's just how I go. Both of them are great players. At this point, we can say they're great players. Unless they fall off a cliff, they trending towards Hall of Fame being 2 of the best wide receivers to ever play the game. Speaking of, Tee Higgins saw an interview, and I love the press conference, and I love how because we are at fault for saying Tee Higgins wide receiver 2. Now, I'll say this. We all were talking about Tee Higgins going somewhere and being the number 1 option if he would have left Cincinnati. So I didn't look at him as a number 2 wide receiver. I looked at him as a 1. And look, whether it's old, whether it's something that people get mad about, because people get mad about everything right now, there are 1 and 2 wide receivers on teams. And we all know that Jamar Chase is the first option on the team. I like how Jamar posed it, though, 1A, because T would be the first option on a lot of NFL teams in the NFL. It just happens that his compadre on the other side is crazy good at playing the position. And T is crazy good, but Jamar is crazier good. Let's phrase it like that. I'm happy for these young men, man. They've earned it. Only issue I have is who gonna play defense? Who is gonna play defense? Because that was the problem last year. Offense was not the problem. Offense scored all the time, every time. offense kept them in games and went to shootouts and had in our mind exactly why they could even be potentially make a run for the playoffs if they got going. They scored enough points to win the Super Bowl. They gave up enough points to lose every game, though. And now the question becomes Trey Hendrickson, the sack leader in the NFL last year, defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. What are you going to do with Trey? We just saw these contracts. How are you going to maneuver and manage this cap to potentially keep him? Because they just ain't letting sack artists walk from teams, especially people like him who makes an impact on the entire game. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. There's always a give take. You know, you give 280 plus $1 million, 276 to be exact, $1 million in contracts to two wide receivers. You got 275 million in a quarterback. Based on my math, that's $500 million. Their annuals are crazy. Now I know they're gonna make some adjustments and they're gonna move money up as the years come. They're gonna push it down the road. But you are in a window now with some prolific guys on that offense to try to make runs. What the hell are you gonna do about this defense? And Lou Anarumo gone, the defense coordinator who was there. I ain't gonna be Debbie Downer. I'm happy for Jamar and I'm happy for T. I'm interested to see how Cincinnati gonna manage this after paying their two wide receivers. But for those guys, get your money, man. Get your money. Get your money, dog. Now y'all know it's the off season. Y'all know I like to talk about the NBA. Y'all know I like to talk about basketball. I'm gonna be on the Lakers for a second because it's a very interesting season. The Cavs are so good. OKC, so good. The way Jokic playing, you got to pay attention to Nikola Jokic, man. The Celtics, obviously, in the conversation. It's going to be super interesting to see the Cavs and the Celtics play. I think we might get one of them old school series potentially between those guys. But the Lakers, who are they and what are they and how are they going to be if LeBron and Luka is healthy throughout the playoffs? I just watched Luka a year ago, 2 years ago, take the Mavs to the finals. Arrested Luka because LeBron can come in. Arrested Bron because Luka could carry the load while he's out, potentially. The basketball acumen between both of these guys, what they've done in the playoffs, what they have the ability to do in the finals if they make it there. We've seen both of them wheel teams that probably shouldn't have been in NBA finals, get them there. What can these two superpowers do? Are they enough with what's around them? Hashimura is good, obviously. You got a lot of pieces on that team that could play supporting roles. If LeBron is healthy and Luka is healthy and they get into this dance, man, I'm telling y'all, just be careful. LeBron has missed the last 5 games with a groin injury, but we all know this is rest. He may be gearing up. They the 4 seed right now. So let's not play like they not going to be prevalent. If they remain in that, that'll be Oklahoma City in the second round. I know y'all see OKC. I know y'all see Shea Butter. I know y'all see that team and how they play defense and offensively on the end, the talent that they have. LeBron and Luka, different animals. You get in that playoffs, man. There's a maturation that goes along with it that they understand. And as cold as Shea is and what he's doing, maybe on his way to winning the MVP, he ain't them two yet. Him and Luka close. Bron, no sir. Now when it comes to understanding the moments and what it takes to win these series. So the Lakers are a team that I'm super interested in seeing once they get in, if they guys are healthy, man. They're gonna give people some problems. I'm just telling you now. With Connect and Austin Reeves, it only thing rim protection. Rebounding and rim protection. How is that going to fare against the bigger teams, even if they get into the finals with the Cavs with Mobley? Obviously, the Boston Celtics might be even better matchup. They shoot that thing from the three-point line more than anybody. When you start thinking about Giannis and Milwaukee. What if they see these teams with this size and this physical ability? You know, Hartenstein and OKC is a dog on the boards, man. Big, physical. Chet Holmgren, 7 foot. Wing. Size may become an issue for them. But we'll see. We'll see. I just want to throw the Lakers in there because I think it's interesting, man, having Luka and LeBron in a playoff for the first time. Like, I get it. People get tired of hearing about them and all of that. Man, we haven't seen these two guys, but we've seen each of these individuals wield their teams. I ain't going to say by themselves because it's disrespectful to the other players, but by themselves, you know what I mean? So we'll see. Lastly, man, we're going to go out. My favorite time of the year, y'all. Real talk. March Madness. Shout out to Future for making the song because it's still relevant. It's my favorite sporting event. Make no secret about it. They like Swagu. You cover football, though. I don't care. March Madness is my favorite event. Hopefully one day I see my son play in it. My son a hooper. Y'all know that because y'all family and we talk all the time. March Madness is the greatest sporting event in the world outside of the World Cup in soccer. I had that argument and I lost, and I get it. I understand why the World Cup is the World Cup. But for the United States, these United States of America, this sporting event, this field of teams, bracketology, everybody filling out brackets at ESPN, everybody brackets being tore up after the first game because we all know that one of these top seeds, not one technically necessarily, but one of these top seeds going to get knocked off by Iona. Or years ago, it was Loyola Chicago. Something going to happen. That's why it's so fun. It's so unpredictable. It's like watching crazy stuff happen daily. The game's on. You flipping through the channels. March Madness, man. Basketball at the highest level. College basketball at the highest level. Now you got Houston. You got Auburn. You got Duke. You got these teams. Florida has downed some juggernauts. Alabama. The SEC got a lot of teams. Arizona. It's going to be a lot of teams. A lot of conversations. Tennessee. Man, I can go on and on. Feel like I'm naming all the SEC teams, but the SEC good. They good. Clemson with the big fella under the rim, the 7-footer. They got a big grinder and a 7-footer. I saw them play in person. Saw them play SMU in person. March Madness is here, y'all. Lock in, man. Do your brackets. Go on ESPN, do your brackets. Win some money. I know some of y'all got brackets at work, brackets on brackets. Sign up for them. You can do a bunch of them, too, especially if you could potentially win some money. March Madness is here. Everybody sit back and enjoy the ride, man. Enjoy yourselves. Have fun. Watch these dudes go at it. Swagu Podcast. Like, subscribe, follow. We on YouTube. You can catch us on all platforms where you can find your podcast. It's always good to be with y'all. It's always love. Listen, man, blessings and peace. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're loving on the ones that you love. And if you don't feel no love, Swagu love you. Real talk, man. Y'all be blessed. I'll tap in with y'all next week. Peace and love.